Well, Golden Graces, everyone. It's a beautiful, funky Freedom Friday. This is Reverend Doc D, hailing from Southern California. I've got some compadres with me, Dr. David Hollins, who's hailing out of Houston, Texas, and Raymond E. Lee. He's hailing out of Buenos Aires, Argentina. I just wanted to do a brief review of Mother Earth Reverence Farms and Ministries. We are a 508c1a nonprofit, and she has three daughters: Wellness Mobile Veterinary Clinics, Global Love Triumphant Ministries, and Sustainable Hemp Hall Enterprises. Today, we are coming from Global Love, which is an educational ministry coming from the No Conservatory of Academies.
Hey, Doc D, I think you're cutting out. I'm not sure if you've muted yourself.
Yeah, I can't hear anything.
Okay, my slides are slow. Well, we've got quite a. I'm looking at. Oh, am I cutting out?
We can't hear you.
We can hear you now.
Oh my goodness. I'm not sure why that's happening. I'm advancing to the second slide. You can't. Okay. Are you able to see the slide?
Yes.
I was just the slideshow. Okay. I'm noticing my slides aren't. There's the slideshow. Advancing. I don't know why it's. Okay, here we go. We're here representing the No Conservatory of Academies. I'm going to speak a little bit about critical thinking. Dr. David Hollins is going to speak to living trusts and estate planning. We each have 10 minutes, and Raymond B. Carmichael is going to wrap us up with Bancus, the Bank of Us. Here's the Hollins Financial Group or Academy. We're very proud to have them with us. Today, him and his wife have over 40 years of experience in the financial world in securing one's wealth legacy. So he'll have 10 minutes. And Brother Raymond E. Lee, he's going to wrap up this package of kisses, keeping it super simple, educational, and silly with Bancus, the Bank of Us. So we're going to do a brief overview of critical thinking. This is a soft skill that I think is warranted in today's 21st century global context. And the No Conservatory highlights the journeys and education of Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, Napoleon Hill, Oprah Winfrey, Wallace Wattles, and Madam C.J. Walker. So let's get into it. The No Conservatory of Academies has a pedagogy, and that pedagogy involves understanding critical thinking regardless of the subject matter. And so, what is critical thinking? Well, you need a strong basis of information, which leads to knowledge, which hopefully leads to wisdom, yes? What is information? Well, we're in the information age here in the 21st century, and it refers to facts provided or learned about something or someone. It's conveyed or represented by a particular arrangement or sequence of things. As I've just mentioned, we are in the information or digital age. We've got more compiled now access to every bit of information that's ever been compiled by humans, available at the touch of a finger. We got to have that knowledge, which is built upon information. It refers to facts, of course, information, and the skills acquired by a person through experience or education. The theoretical or practical understanding of subject matters. Yes, awareness or familiarity gained by experience of a situation. We usually gain this through some kind of educational modality. Some people go to college, some people acquire a vocation. The bottom line is knowledge emancipates, it frees up one's life journey. And that's really what I want you to gain an understanding. We're bringing you some knowledge today. Next slide. The next slide is wisdom. So we're building from information to knowledge to wisdom. I put the hourglass here because this usually takes a little bit of time. Wisdom doesn't usually happen overnight. It refers to the ability to make sound judgments and decisions by effectively using the knowledge that's been gained, one's life experience, and even insights to achieve in others. It goes beyond information, it goes beyond knowledge. It involves some elders, some people who've been there before. That's why we're doing these little short, sweet, succinct kisses every now and then because we wanted to bring you the wisdom. Yes. And we want to have some coupled empathy and common sense. That's kind of in the mix as well. That's a little equation. We're going to do next slide. So when it comes to critical thinking, we need to have that exposure to information, knowledge, and wisdom. And then we're going to go into what is analysis, evaluation, objectivity, and reason, and questioning assumptions. So we're going to go in that just a little bit. We're not going to get through it all, but I want us to analysis and evaluation. So Dr. Hollins is going to bring you some information today. The ability to critically analyze that information and the arguments for appreciating their validity and the correctness. This takes a bit of time. You want to take the time to look at these things. There's strength in understanding what the potential implications are and involving association and how you plan to use it. That's all involved with an analysis and evaluation. So this is what we're dealing with a lot today: objectivity and reason. I put up this little cartoon looking slide: fake versus facts. I think you want to deal with the facts, but you got to be able to sort those out. So, what is objective? It's a method to appreciate that data, information from an unbiased perspective. You want to utilize some logic, reasoning, assessment, and analyses so you can arrive at a conclusion. We're going to be bringing you over these periods of kisses various subject matters, and we want you to be able to utilize objectivity and reason. And this may take a bit of time. Questioning assumptions is next. So this is more of subjectivity, where one may need to do some inner reflection, challenging our preconceived notions, ideas, beliefs, including one's own, in a search or quest for a deeper understanding. You know, we're going to be bringing things that involve generational wealth, legacy, and our society does condition us to think a certain way. Well, sometimes you might want to be thinking out of the box. Sometimes those conditional norms are leading us down a path that does not serve. So we want to be questioning. So I put ethics in here. There's a little bit of ethics involved. You know, what you've been taught in your spirit, self, religion, these types of things. You got to question, and it does take a bit of time. So we're not going to get into this next aspect. I'll save this for a little bit later. I just want us to get a sense of what critical thinking involves, what is going to make us societally better. at making decisions, regardless of the subject matter. And so I just want to make sure we're putting in some efforts. This is a slide, I know it's thick, to take a screenshot. This is almost like a little cliff note about critical thinking. These are questions. Excuse me, about ways of getting at decision making. Who, what, why, when, where, and how. And there's even the 7 whys. So take a screenshot of this. There are questions within the question that will assist one in getting to what is significant. What is the core of one's inquiry? So I'm going to move on, pass the baton. I thank you. My voice is starting to give way. This is the way to get a hold of me. I put it in the chat as well. And I'm going to thank Dr. Hollins for passing on the baton. He's going to share his. My portion is done for now. Dr. Hollins, are you ready for?
I'm here. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for allowing me to come on here this brief moment to share a little bit this morning. Thank you for that overview. I just picked up quite a few things from what you just said. People that's not paying attention, they really miss it. Okay, because
Yeah.
I am on it like you can't believe. Thank you so much. Let me. I'm gonna try to share my screen. I'm just like again. I'm new at this, so do I hit this?
Okay.
No, I hit this button.
Here, let me remove.
Share screen. Okay. Don't show this again. Share screen. Okay. Let's see if I'm sharing right now. Okay. Am I sharing my screen now? Can
No,
you see?
not yet, Dr. Hollins.
Can you see that?
It's coming.
How about now? Can you see my screen?
No, not
We
yet.
can't see it. Can't see it yet.
Can't see it yet. Okay. I hit share. Let me say stop share. Let me go back. All right. I need to get back this. I'm sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not used to this platform, so I don't know what to do here. I see a button at the bottom here. Look like a plus button.
Yeah, I think that's the right button, Dr. Hollins.
Okay. And it says video file, share screen.
There you go.
Can you see it now? How about
Not
now?
yet.
Oh gosh, what's going on here?
Okay.
How about now? Do you see
There
it?
you go. Now you're on.
Okay.
You're live.
Oh my God, I'm sorry about all that.
No,
Man,
it's fine. I think Dr. Hall there is fighting between breaths to get the buttons right on her end as well.
yeah. Well, anyway, but thank you so much again for allowing me to come in and share. I'm gonna try to keep my portion as brief as I can. I'm going to set me a little timer here so I don't go over my limit here because I have a lot to share with you. But guys, thank you so much. My company, as you see, is on the screen, but I'm just going to start off with saying this. If you live in the U.S., strictly work for the United States. In the U.S., within the U.S., you do not want to have to trust and rely on a will, and if you pass away. Now, and I'm starting off like this, and a lot of people don't like to hear the part of pass away, but that's something meaningful about that because everybody's going to leave. We all have a time and we all have a clock, just like I'm monitoring the clock on my screen right now. We all have a clock, but we don't know that date. So you want to make sure that you do not be set up. So again, my name is Dr. Hollins. For those of you who don't know, formally know me, I've been in the financial services industry for over 40 years. I've actually retired, working from home now as a consultant. I work as a financial consultant and as an educator today. Yeah, I've been licensed in this industry for many, many years. But today, I'm going to talk with you about some experience I picked up over the years called actually in the educational side of estate planning. I used to think that a will was the answer. And I was teaching all of my clients to get a will. But I found out from a gentleman that I met with a company called HBW. It's called Helping Build Wealth. And when I met this young man, and of course, he's retired now. His wife has passed, he's moved on, but he told me something. He said, Doc, he said, a will is the worst document that you can ever have. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, you do not want a will and pass away in the U.S. And okay, so I start digging. So right now, let me just do this. For time's sake, I want you guys to hear from an attorney. Check this out.
Hey, estate planning attorney Paul Rabelais, and this is going to be a fast overview of what a living trust is and why so many people utilize them as part of their overall estate planning legal program. So for starters, whenever someone dies with assets titled in their name, assets like their home, rental property, shares of stock, certificates of deposit, business interests, all of those assets that I've just referred to are typically referred to as probate assets. And upon your death, whether you have a will or not, these probate assets will be frozen, and your surviving family members or heirs will not be able to sell or access these assets until they go through the court and attorney involved probate process, which many people perceive as time consuming, expensive, and just an all around hassle, because in many cases it is all of those things. A quick side note that you, in addition to owning probate assets, you may also have assets in your name that do not require the involvement of attorneys, judges, and court orders to gain assets. This includes assets like life insurance and retirement accounts that have beneficiaries listed on the account information paperwork. These assets are often referred to as non-probate assets. So some people, in an attempt to keep their survivors and heirs from having to go through the probate process, establish what's called a living trust. Here's the idea. Create what's called a revocable living trust that you can change anytime. Transfer title of your probate assets to your trust. The key is things in a trust don't go through the court and attorney involved probate process at the courthouse when you die. And the trust states who's in charge of your trust when you die. That person's often called the successor trustee. The trust instrument states what happens to the trust assets when you die. It serves as a replacement to your will insofar as the trust assets goes. And upon your death, that successor trustee that you named, often a family member, has the authority to distribute those trust assets to the trust beneficiaries in accordance with the terms of the trust instrument. A few other quick points worth addressing. In case you happen to have a trust and still die with probate assets that are titled in your name, when you have a trust, you'll also need a will, typically referred to as a pour-over will, because it provides that upon your death, those probate assets that are in your name will go through the probate assets to be retitled or poured over into your trust. Also, as part of your entire estate planning program, you'll also have things like a durable or property power of attorney, a healthcare power of attorney, and a living will, so that if during your lifetime you can't transact for yourself or you can't make your own medical decisions, you'll have the instruments in place so that your financial and healthcare wishes are honored by the appropriate people. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below. We'll see you next time.
Wow. He said a mouthful. And I want you guys to hear from a legal attorney, because I'm not an attorney and I'm not here to give you any financial advice. But, I want to show you how to secure your legacy, prepare for your future, and protect what you have. Now, everybody's here to make money. That's the whole objective of everything we're doing, is to make a living and pass on something to our loved ones. So I want to talk about a simple plan that we use here at Hollins Financial. I think going to be very beneficial to you. I'm not going to talk as fast as Paul, but I'm going to try to get through this in an ample amount of time. So if I got about another 5 to 6 minutes, I'm going to try to go through this. So why estate? Why have an estate plan? Why does it matter? Well, number one, again, we said it protects your family, protects your loved one. It ensures that all your wishes is carried out. It avoids that costly thing that Paul just mentioned, which is called probate. And you want to preserve your wealth for generations to come. Ladies and gentlemen, the facts that I found out about a revocable living trust, most people will pay anywhere between $5,000 and $30,000, depending on the type of trust that you get. And there's several different types. But the basic type's going to run you somewhere between a low of maybe 3 or 4 to 5 on an average. What I've been finding out from people, most of them been running about 8,000. So I just want to ask you a question. Do you want to have 100% control of your assets or 50% control? Now, if you're looking at half of control, and that's only controlling after you die, that is called a will. That's your last will and testament. And that will go through probate. It will go through probate. Let me repeat. It will go through probate. There's no bypassing it. Okay. It can take up to 6 months. Some of them 2 years. I've seen them up to 40 years going through probate. And sometimes you go through at least 2 or 3 different probates, which can cost you somewhere between $10,000 and $50,000 or more. But now, if you want 100% control, you might want something called a revocable trust. Now, I understand that's irrevocable. The only difference between a revocable and an irrevocable, there's some tax advantages on the irrevocable, but you have no control on the irrevocable. A revocable, you can change it at any time you get ready. There's no delay. There's no court. There's no attorney. And I think you can find one for somewhere on an average. I think a good people is doing it. An attorney is not trying to gouge you. It's going to be somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000. Now, this is just an example. So what I want to just tell you again, why do we need that trust? This is why. It brings everything together, ladies and gentlemen, like never before. Okay, this is what that trust does. It pulls all your assets in. The trust is a legal document, and it holds and it manages all of your assets. It lets you decide on who gets what and when, why you're here and when you're gone. It avoids that probate process. We talk about that. And, you know, ladies and gentlemen, anything, it can protect you against creditors and lawsuits. So why is this important? It saves your family time and money. It keeps your estate and where you have control of that estate at all times. Is a smooth transfer of all your assets and allow long-term planning for your children and all your dependents. Now, here's the risk of not having one. Assets, you go into court again. All they're going to have family dispute can come up. They fight like you can't believe when there's an inheritance or an estate left. You know, you got state lawsuits and that some people can sue you for stuff if you don't have one. And, you know, if you pass away, they can hold mechanics lien on your property and come against you. And you have to fight that in court. The cost is high, ladies and gentlemen. It can delay everything and you lose all privacy and control. So that last will and testament, ladies and gentlemen, all it's done is going to outline what you want to have happen and name. You do need a will. I have to take that back, but that will have to be inside of a trust. Better yet, you want this will called a pour-over will. The pour-over will comes along with your trust. A regular will does not have a pour-over will. So a pour-over will is a special instrument that brings in all your assets in case you go into court and just in case you forget. Again, it provides that power of attorney, and there's medical power of attorney, there's your financial power of attorney, and your durable power of attorney. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you got to have these assets in place. So you do not want to have that will again. That will, I'm going to tell you one more time, you keep talking about that death. It's only, a will is a death instrument, and it goes through probate. A trust goes into effect immediately, avoids all of those probate assets and above the law and above the law. You don't need an attorney or any of that, ladies and gentlemen. It provides the best of both worlds. There's all types of people that's single can qualify for a trust. If you get a trust when you're single, that acts as what we call a prenup. Okay, if two people trust, you get a partner's trust, you got what they call legally married trust, and you got a spouse as a beneficiary. You also have the trust, ladies and gentlemen, here, what we call the assets is over so much. This is called a Q-tip trust. You have a non-citizen. If you don't live in this, if you're married to somebody who lives in another country, there's a Q-tip trust. It works almost like the same thing as a Q-tip. There's revocable. We talk about that. Irrevocable. Testamentary trust. Child remaining trust. But you know, the one that everybody needs, don't worry about all these other trusts. There's different ones. The one everybody needs is a revocable. You always start there. You don't have to let the guy create. You might need a special needs. There's one called a spendthrift trust. That's an asset protection trust. There's a guaranteed remainder trust. Now you understand why this stuff gets to be complicated, ladies and gentlemen. All I'm just telling you is we prepare trust. We show people how to get this thing done simply, AI driven. You pay $20. You can have access to your trust to make changes anytime you get ready. You don't want to make a mistake that happened to Michael Jackson. His stuff is still in probate, and all he needed was to have, and guess what? He had a trust, but he never funded the trust. And all he needed was a pull will, could have prevented that disaster. People didn't tell him about it. So we don't want you to make a mistake of not funding the trust. You must fund your trust when you get it, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to skip this video because it's a little bit more time, but it talks about a quit claim deed versus a warranty deed. And when you provide the trust, all you need to deed your property over is a quit claim deed. You do not need a warranty deed. You want to skip that probate process. Okay. Make sure you guys understand the difference between everything I'm talking about. And due to time, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up because, you know, most people have pay all this cost, but we offer these trusts through Hollins Financial at $1,995. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, you can also pay it on time. You do not have to pay the front. You can do an installment with us. So this application looks like this. All you got to do is scan this website. And once you scan that bar, it'll take you directly to my link. And you can do it action online, contact me, and then we'll move forward. So I just want to thank you guys so much for allowing me to share this morning. And if you need us, just feel free to call my office, or you can email me and get in touch with me or my wife, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. So Dr. Hill, I'm going to turn it back to you. Thank you so much for allowing me to share. All right, I think I got everything in that I need to talk about. And I'm going to go ahead and see if I don't know how to stop sharing this. Okay, we do this. So Dr. Hill, are you there? I'm going to turn it back to you.
Actually, Dr. Hollins, it looks like Dr. Hall's completely dropped off the call
wow.
for some reason.
Okay.
But hold up, let me just switch on my camera here so that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna turn it over to you then. Good seeing you, Raymond. I like what you're doing, man.
Thank you so much, Doc. Lovely. Look, over the years, I've garnered a lot of little bits and bobs, some great information from both you and your wife. And
Thank you,
of course,
sir.
it's invaluable stuff. Even though I'm not living inside the US,
that's okay.
I do know plenty of people that are living there, and certainly
you.
when it comes up in conversation, you're always front of mind. So thank you.
Okay, sir. Over to you. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too, Doc D. I'll see you back on with us. I'm just going to kick this right off. I'll see if I can share my screen here. See what's going on. Let's have a look. Let's see if I can do it this way. Bear with me a second.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So I'm imagining that, let me go back and make sure that you can see. Okay. You might need to add me to the present screen, Dr. Hall. Is that right?
I think if you just click share screen.
Yeah, I've already had.
You ought to be okay.
Just stop the screen share and then I'll share it again. Share screen. Let's try this way. Uh, there we go. Can you see that? Oh, looks like we're good. No, I think it's something on your end, Doc.
Oh,
You might need to
okay.
allow me to.
Let me see here. I don't. You know,
There we go.
add to stage.
Share screen. Okay. Let's have a look at this. Okay, so I'm sharing. Is it coming up? Okay, so while you're working that out, Doc D, just a little disclaimer on my part here. I'm using a
Are
few
you there?
slides. Yes, can you hear me okay? Let's see. Right, so I think maybe if you stop your screen.
Are you there?
Stay there for a little bit. Um, Let me know once.
Well, I'm not seeing you.